Here we go, my friends. There we go. Hope everyone is doing awesome today. Man, I don't know about you guys, but I am interested in the weekend. You guys, give me a check-in. Where are you guys coming in from today? I don't know how many of you guys I've told this before, but I'm in Tampa, Florida. And the weather is finally getting kind of hot around here and may hit the beach this weekend, which I'm for sure looking forward to. So some big news has been happening today, and I actually have a video queued up right after this. It is I'm on Eastern time right now, so 5 sharp. We are kicking over to a live stream. I'm sorry, a live premiere where we're going to be doing some updates on FEG token. Anyone here been doing any FEG or any other of the burn tokens I've been covering on this channel? While I wait from that, got people from Spain, New Jersey, Jackson, Wyoming. Man, that's not bad. Lebanon, hey, Lagos, Manchester. Wow, you guys are all over. I'm absolutely loving this. So let's talk about FEG a little bit. So in today's video, I'm going to be covering just some updates that are in it. I've been paying attention. I don't know if anyone has seen the new FEG exchange that's come out, but I have been playing around with that just a little bit, and definitely a big fan of it. And I don't know if you guys, I'm going to give you a little peek to my live stream friends. Go over to feg.exchange and click on the available tokens for trade. And I'm going to pop quiz you guys. I want to see if anyone here is the first to find a new token that has shown up on FEG Exchange. I don't know if any of you guys have seen it before or not, but I want you to take a look, because one of the cool things about FEG that has been promised for a while is their exchange has always sort of been this idea of, hey, we want to be an open exchange for other tokens, not just for FEG. And if you go look, yep, there it is from Abraham, the first to say it, Rich or Richie. Anyone here been checking out Richie at all? I'm just curious. It's interesting because it has been not really developed by the FEG team from my understanding, but a couple of the developers of FEG, including FEG Rocks, have been involved in auditing. Which doesn't mean a ton if you don't trust FEG Rocks, but if you trust the FEG token itself and you trust what's happened there, they're kind of putting their name behind it, saying, hey, we've audited it and it looks good. So check that out. I'm interested to know what you guys think. I'm not ready to go like pump it on my channel or anything like that, but I do cover it in the video that's coming up here in about 26 minutes. So would love to know what you guys think about it. Hey, give me some questions here. So what I thought we would do is just kind of unwind for the day. At least for me, it's pretty much the end of the day. So let me know if you guys have any particular questions, anything I can answer. You probably saw my pie video that I produced yesterday, and that was a lot of fun to make. To me, I wanted to do a video on pie. If you haven't seen that video, I kind of talk about the hype cycle train. And if you want an example of this, you can literally just Google hype cycle, and you will see some information that comes across on from Gartner, I think who it is, of like what it looks like for product cycles to go through hype cycles. And if you want a great example of that, look at Apple. So Apple is well known for having their big events, 2 or 3 a year, developers conference, that sort of thing, where they announce a brand new, whatever it is, phone, watch, whatever. And they intentionally leak little bits of information leading up to the hype cycle. It hits its current maximum during those live streams and maybe just for a little bit after, and then it slowly goes down. And to me, what's more interesting, whether it's like Apple or it's anything else that's out there, I mean, even take it as like a crypto, is what happens at the bottoms of the hype cycle. That's actually more interesting to me than the tops of the hype cycle. And the reason for that is because we get to see what does the community look like when everything kind of dies down and we don't have anything driving it externally. And so if you haven't been looking at Pi, pretty excited for them. I mean, they're still looking at like 50,000 new registrations, new accounts created, even though it's test Pi per day. And that is pretty powerful. Not a lot of cryptos that are hitting that. So that is pretty awesome. Let's see. So any comments, questions you guys have? So it looks like Iala Lori is asking, how do you invest in rising cryptos nowadays? Well, that's a good question. It depends on what you mean by that. So if you're talking some cryptos that are out there are very, very new, very, very speculative and extremely risky, and they are difficult to get in and involved in. And here's the reason why. The reason why is sometimes they're so new, they're not productized. You're not going to find them in like Coinbase or Gemini or Binance or other places. You got to buy them off a DeFi exchange like Uniswap or Pancake. And that's difficult for people. If you've never done it before, it's a little scary. There's no one there to hold your hand. If you mess up, goodbye. It's definitely not easy. So that's the way you buy a lot of these speculative tokens that are coming out there. If you see one that you like, but just understand, when tokens go into like a major exchange like a Voyager, a Gemini, Coinbase, whoever, typically just means there's more review that goes into it, more due diligence, and usually those tokens will pay to get in as well, or they're big enough to where they get granted in. And so just keep in mind, it comes down to risk tolerance, right? Like in my channel, I always talk about never invest what you're not willing to lose. So if you find some speculative token that just looks amazing and come to find out the whole thing's a fraud and a scam, be careful about that. Don't go dump as much money as you possibly can into it only to have everything fall apart on you. I've seen that happen before. There's so many of those that are out there. So you just have to balance that. Let's see, another question I saw come in. I can't find it here, but I saw, here it is from Gazo or something like that. Why one account has 99% of Pi? I can answer that question for you. So that is the Pi faucet. And a couple things we should talk about with Pi. Keep in mind, we're just in test Pi. So all of the Pi that you see when you go to like the dashboard, the Pi, the dashboard .pi blockchain.net or whatever it is, keep in mind, that's just test Pi. And so the Pi core team just said, hey, to get this whole thing kicked off to test scale, we're just going to go and load the wallet with 100 billion Stellar, or not Stellar, but 100 billion Pi. It's based off Stellar. So they just loaded the entire faucet wallet up just so they could continue to supply anybody that wants it to test it, because test Pi is worth nothing. Test Pi will go to zero, will actually be erased and blanked out when we go into mainnet. And so that's why you have that one wallet sitting there with all of it. Now, I will tell you this, the way that Stellar works, and Pi is based off Stellar, it will all come from a faucet. So what will happen is, whenever this is going to be towards the end of this year, early next year, whenever it goes into mainnet, all of the Pi you've been claiming, not really mining, you hear that a lot. We're not really mining, we're just claiming it. Let's say you have 1,000 Pi by next year that's sitting in the app. Then what will happen is that's your claim. And as long as that's legitimate, it's not fraudulent, what will happen is that crypto will then be taken and granted to you from a faucet account. So that's what the faucet's for. It's why you see one account with all of it in there. Don't be worried about all of that. All of that is going to take care of itself. So good question that's on there. Another question I like, so from Trees on the Beach, and I hear you on that. I'm probably going to go chill by a tree on the beach this weekend, my friend. What is the business case for Pi? That's a good question, right? So some of this is going to be decided. So here's what Pi did a good job of, and you have to understand this is radically different than a lot of the other cryptos that I've been around. I mean, even take Bitcoin in the early days. I remember when Bitcoin was first really starting to get some amount of traction among us nerds in like 2011. And, it'd been out for a few years. It really came out at the end of 2008 and then heavy in early 2009. And it was really Satoshi creating a white paper and an idea for something without a market behind it. And he had to prove his worth. He had to prove, or she or they had to prove that this whole thing was a conceivable, usable platform before they got users into it. And most cryptos have followed that same pathway. You go look at a lot of new cryptos that are coming out, and you will see it's the same way. It's a great idea that they have to do something innovative, and it works, and the blockchain's there to some degree, and then they want to go get users. Well, Pi has actually approached that from the opposite. They've done what I call a go-to-market approach. And if you guys don't know, I do a lot of startups. I'm a big entrepreneur. And this is something I have a lot of experience in. In the startup world, oftentimes you will see a company be in stealth intentionally. And stealth just means, hey, we're not publishing what we're doing, but we're going to generate interest. We might drip out some things we're trying to do, some challenges we're trying to solve, and you build a user base, you build interest first, and then you come at it and you build the technology to catch up. And that's actually what Pi is doing, for better or worse. For better, they have over 15 million users. For worse, you get a lot of people that are looking at this like, where's the tech? What is this thing supposed to do? It must be a scam because it's not here yet. That's just the approach they took. And I find that to be very, very interesting. because we'll see where it goes. Josh Cochran checking in. Josh, how's it going, man? I know you. He's saying Doge is where it's at. Talk about anything else is just a waste of time. So Doge is a lot of fun, right? Here's my view on Doge. I did do one video on Doge. If you guys haven't seen it, just go check it out. And I kind of talked about my view on why Doge is going to the moon. And look, so here's the deal with Doge, for those you don't know, is it has unlimited supply. It's like the exact polar opposite of Bitcoin. So there's no limit to how much will eventually be created and minted. I think people have really looked at it for the longest time of like, it's a fun coin, it's a troll coin. Like I remember in the early days when Doge had enough to actually sponsor a NASCAR race car. You guys remember that? If you don't live in the States, just search like Dogecoin race car and you'll see it come up. I think it's pretty funny, right? And I think the world needs some laughs, and Doge is supplying that, just like the whole GameStonk kind of thing. But yeah, no, I mean, Doge is not going anywhere long term, right? It's fun. I actually put like $1,000 into Doge just to watch it and see what happens, fully believing that at some point it's going to crash and burn from where it's at right now. So you know how that goes. Okay, what other questions do we have here? Abraham said, I'm getting some traffic from the FEG fans. Right on. That's super cool. I'm glad to see the FEG community growing. There's a lot of new ones that are coming out there. And FEG is doing just interesting things, right? It's not just a marketing angle and, a get rich quick kind of thing. So that's why I'm interested in it for sure. Graham, hey man, how's it going? You're always checking in on my videos. Just want to say, hey, specific shout out to you, my friend. Let's see, what else do we want to talk about here? Adam saying, yeah, he would invest in Doge. He only recently bought some for himself. He's planning on dumping it when Elon is on SNL. I can't remember when Elon is going to be on SNL, but that's a can't miss. Like I don't ever watch SNL anymore. I got spoiled from the 90s of like Chris Farley and all the like David Spade and all of them. But I'm telling you, that should be a ton of fun. I'm a huge Elon fan for sure. Because he breaks the rules, and he's the kind of person where you tell him you can't do something, he just finds a way to do it, and not a lot of regard to the right and wrong way to do things. So big fan. Let's see what else is in here from Mario. What do you think about how many coin percents will be burned in mainnet? I'm assuming you're talking about Pi. I see most of users have 40% active users, so lots of them in the end will be burned. Okay, here's what I think about that. So I do talk to the Pi core team. I've never asked them that question. So what I'm about to say is my view purely without any inside knowledge. Let me be really clear on that. So what I would do if I were on the Pi team is there's a difference between people that just stopped mining and those that are fraudulently mining. And we know for a fact fraudulent miners will be, those fraudulently earned Pi will be burned up. We know that. I've talked to the core team. They actually are well aware of a lot of fraudulent miners, and they have ways to detect it. And there's some easy ways to detect it if you just think about how bots can operate. And so that will be taken care of by itself. My view, in my opinion, and I may cover this on a specific video when we get closer to it, but my view and opinion would be, why don't we pause and wait and think about this for a minute? Those that have been inactive but have mined in the past, they put effort in. So I personally would not burn those because we want them to come back in with excitement. I mean, you can't blame somebody that did this for a while and then got burned out on it and just didn't want to get back to it. So I would still leave those around, and I would let them come back into the platform. And I wouldn't punish them. That's just my thinking with all, just my opinion. But there could be a lot of new folks that want to think about all of that as well. Okay, so 5 minutes left before my premiere comes out. We're talking about some new updates to Pi or to FEG, and also going to take a look at what the heck this Richie thing is. I don't get deep into Richie, but you guys are on with me early, so I'm just going to give you a bit of a spoiler on this new token inside of FEG called Richie. So we'll take care of that. Ben, hey, new subscriber here. Thanks for joining, man. I appreciate you. And thanks for hitting the sub button. That does go a long way for me. It really does. And he's saying, there's a lot of platforms that are out there similar to Pi, like B, Eagle, TimeStop. There's Midoin. I never know how to say that. There's a couple others I've seen pop up. Most of those are copycats, and I'm okay with that, right? What do we always say about copycats? It's usually the best form of flattery. And you could also make the argument that Litecoin and Ethereum were copycats of Bitcoin in the early days with some different angles. And so personally, the only MMC, I call all of these cryptos, I've coined this term mobile mining cryptos because I think it captures it well, even though you're not really mining. I know that. Here's what I think. I think that it's good to have competitors. And it's good to have people that are trying to do other things. It pushes everyone to innovate as heavily as possible. So I personally, I don't mind any of those. I'm not interested in them. But if you do, awesome. There's been some that are out there. I mean, like B has been known, at least on the the Android side, to not be so friendly with your data. And that's why it was in my view, it's probably why it got pulled out of the App Store, probably through some language issues and some terms issues as well. They're just not for me. I'm in Pi. I'm happy with Pi, but I'm not against them either. My point is, if you like them, go at them, use them, right? If you want to do all of them and see which one sorts out to be the best, awesome. MMCs are cool because it's the first time it's super easy for anybody to get involved in claiming crypto with nothing but a phone. And that includes all of our friends from third world countries, which I think is really valuable. We need to bring everybody into crypto. And even you guys checking in on where you're from, I like that, right? I think that's a big deal. Oh, Hapster, you said something about Bitcoin, BitTorrent coin. So I actually haven't looked into that a lot, but let me tell you one that I'm getting ready to look into really soon is I'm going to do a review. Let me just spoil it for you this way. I'm going to let you guys do your own Google research on this one. There is the founder of BitTorrent. Go look him up. He has created his own token. And it's very, very interesting. It is running on Cosmos, which is also interesting. I've never covered Cosmos on my channel before. So I'm thinking through how to do this, but I'm probably going to do a video on like what Cosmos is, how the wallet works within Cosmos, and then his individual token. It's called Secret. He's doing some things around like stopping bot front running and some of that. If you don't know that term, I'm going to cover that in the video coming up here in 3 minutes. So just be aware of that. But anyway, so I don't know a lot of BitTorrent coin, Hapster. You asked me that question, but I do know the guy that invented BitTorrent has got a new token coming out, and it's really interesting. And I'm going to be talking about that soon. And not because anyone's paying me. I'm friends with some of those people. I know them really well, and so I'm just very interested. Adam, how many NBA Top Shot moments do I own? Man, I just want to know when I'm going to get a chance to have like an NFT made of me. That's what I want to know. Like, I don't need to own any. I just want to like have me be in an NFT one day. And I know you can make your own. I don't know if you guys are interested in NFTs and like how to create them. There's been several videos from others that have created that, but let me know if you have interest in NFTs. Here's the thing about NFTs I think are fun. We're way too early into this to know how NFTs are going to shake out. But I've been doing NFTs since CryptoKitties, and I actually own like 6 or 7 CryptoKitties because they're fun. I think NFTs are very valuable in certain markets. For example, look at like gaming, like especially Fortnite and things like that, where people will pay for customization. NFTs work really well in mechanisms like that. But I don't think you're going to see a lot of Beeple kinds of artwork typically sold for the tens of millions of dollars. I think that's a very rare kind of thing that happens. So, all right, guys. So 1 minute left. And I just wanted to jump into the chat and say hi to you guys and let you know how much I appreciate all of you. And also just say, hey, check out the new FEG video that I have coming out. And guys, I do read all of the comments on my channel. There are too many for me to keep up with anymore, but I do read them. So if you have something for me, you want me to cover something, you got an idea or a question for me, by all means, reach out. If I have the chance and the bandwidth and the interest, I will respond back to you. But also these live streams are just a fun way for you and I to stay in touch, because I think we need to do some more of this on the channel. So guys, I'm going to end this here in just a few seconds, but I want you guys to go and check out the live stream or the premiere coming up on FEG and give me your thoughts on what you think about FEG. And also let me know if there's some other burn tokens that are out there that you want me to cover. I am open to that. I may not always do it, but certainly open to it. So until then, my friends, I hope you guys all have a great weekend, and I will talk to you guys later. Wes Spencer here, signing off.